Hi and welcome to my first YouTube video. Thank you for joining my first wooden escape. I would like to show you the carving of my bird relief and take you with me from the first wood chip to the final touches. The relief is made of linden wood and you will see the individual work steps in the video. If you'd like to see more projects, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram. So for now, let's get into it. At first, about my setup, as you can see, I simply attached a few screws to a board so that the piece of wood couldn't slip. I call this low budget carving. If you want to do this, I would recommend that you wrap the screws with a few layers of plaster or fabric so that no traces are left on the workpiece. As you can see, I had to change the setup a bit after the first few attempts, because the board has to be firm so that it can withstand the pressure while carving. I just put a board behind it and supported it on the wall so that my device stays in place. So we start with the background. First you can see me working on the background on the relief. Since I have a fairly deep piece of wood, a lot can be removed accordingly. First of all, it's important to get a deep structure and remove as much as possible that will not be needed later. When I had the feeling that I had gone deep enough, I worked out the different levels of the bird. For rougher work like here, I always use the 3 gouges you see here. What kind of tools you use doesn't matter, as long as it works for you. Plus, it's all about the bird's rough shape, so there's no need to be squeamish here. So break what breaks you. To check whether the shape is going in the right direction, I draw a quick sketch on the carving of which areas I want to work on and how. Here's also no time for details because artistic masterpieces will go into the eternal expense of wood chips with the next processing steps. But just to get a glimpse of which places should go on depth, it is good to have a few clues. To get a smooth shape, I use my Dremel with a sanding bit. That makes carving a lot easier. Precisely where the wood is a little darker, there was probably a branch. The grain is different and the wood is a lot harder. This makes the work a bit frustrating at times, because you have to apply a lot more pressure to work on it. And the technical support can quite help you with that. To carve the little feet of the bird, I use a scalpel and then a smaller Dremel bit. Now the first structures come into the wood. By the way, please don't ask me where I got this Dremel bit from. I got it from my grandma because my grandpa was actually a dentist and used the bit on his tooth models many years ago. Please don't judge me for still using them. Also, I'm now determining how I want the feathers on the wings to look later, whereby I use my tools again. As you can see, I did make a sketch before carving, but I'm not a fan of sticking to it too much. Each piece of wood has its own characteristics, and some details look different on the wood than on paper. So during the process, I'm always correcting. Now I start to work out each feather individually. So I make a small notch in the center of each feather and then carve the structure of the feather. I could also have done it with a knife, but it would have taken a lot more time, so I'll stick with my Dremel for that. I saved the eye until the very end because I was honestly a bit afraid of it. Carving eyes is only for the very brave because you can spoil all your work if you find out afterwards that your bird is like squinting or has an expression in its eyes that kind of begs you to redeem it with a saw. But the brave are rewarded. I'm quite pleased with how it all looks in the end. By the way, I always use my Dremel and a brush attached to it to remove the dust before I start working with my tools again, so the blades don't get dull so quickly. So the last step is always my favorite. So let's get the oil out and have some fun. I use a product that is available here in Germany called Holzbutter or wood butter. I think it's a mixture of different oils and wax, but the exact recipe is a secret. And by the way, I don't get paid for naming the products and tools that I use. I just like working with them. So I go into all the nooks and crannies with the brush and slowly work the product inside the wood. However, the mixture then needs a few days to dry completely on the wood. Here you can see my final result. A nice little relief, I think. As you can see, the oil has already dried, leaving the surface of the wood softly dull and luminous. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you think of the project, and thanks for watching my video.